Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse DC Direct Page Puncher 0 Hour Superman. I got this guy at GameStop. He's part of the newest wave of Page Punchers with just Joker, Superman, Cheetah, and Extant. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, ages 12 plus, includes exclusive comic book in the English language. DC Superman. Here he is in the package. We have a total of 4 interchangeable hands, display stand, collector's card, and of course, that comic, which is a reprint of 0 Hour number 4. At the bottom, there's his barcode if it helps. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, 4 interchangeable hands, and the reprint of 0 Hour number 4. Before I deload all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Superman from 0 Hour. Basically, it's a 90s version of Superman. He has the mullet look. He's not in the enormous swole body. He's got a classic looking suit with a darker blue and a cloth soft goods cape. 0 Hour was one of those big DC events, and back then, they didn't do them quite as often as they do now. So it was a pretty big deal. I remember some cool comics where we had old school Dick Grayson Robin and Nightwing, or Batgirl and Oracle, that sort of stuff. So let's take a closer look. This Superman is done on that body that debuted with a Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman, and it's a fantastic Superman body. His face looks pretty good, eyebrows kind of come up to a point, and he's got that mullet. Kind of exaggerated spit curl at the top. And the colors look great. The dark blue, the red is perfect, and the yellow. He's got the red trunks, yellow belt, red belt loops, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, cloth soft goods cape, and it's done with that sort of shiny vinyl material. And as we've seen so much lately, there's no bendy wire, and it really looks like they have the pocket to put one around the bottom and around the sides. Superman logo on the back. I really hate when they don't give us a bendy wire. I'm going to have to start doing my own. I saw a tutorial, get some copper wire. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. The cape's just big and just sort of sits there. Honestly, when they don't put the bendy wire, I'd almost rather have a plastic cape than this sort of limp cloth soft goods. Well, anyway, back on track. His head, face, chest, suit color, it all looks great for that 90s, very specific mullet era Superman. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, it absolutely captures that 90s Superman look. They did an excellent job on the hair, the face, the chest, pretty much everything except for the cape. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. We have his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen plenty of times before. And then we have his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Superman. He's got the longer hair, classic outfit, Superman. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Next, let's look at this comic. This is a reprint of 0 Hour Crisis in Time number 4. As you can see at the top, the end of today, 0 Hour Crisis in Time number 4. Flash mask, a bunch of heroes. I mean, here's Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, even though she was crippled and Oracle at the time. All kind of stuff was messed up in time. On the inside, we have old school 90s look. I mean, look at that. We have Tim Drake Robin, Batman, with Barbara Gordon, who shouldn't be around at the time. Everything was all messed up. Old school Robin, Dick Grayson, Wave Rider. It was a huge DC event. Thanagarians. A lot of cool stuff. I mean, Alan Scott coming back. Old school JSA. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 4 hands, 2 left hands, and 2 right hands. Here's a look at his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And then his second pair of hands. These are a pair of outstretched hands. Now I wanted to talk about his cape. I really don't like the way the cape was executed, and I'm sure you guys all know what I mean. I don't really have a problem with the cape itself. I mean, the shiny vinyl is not the best, but it's not the worst. I love the Superman logo on the back. What I hate is a lack of bendy wire. The cape is just so big and limp, it just sort of sits there. And it even has the freaking pocket sewn all around it where you could put a wire in there. So, I don't like how big it is, I don't like how you can't take the shape, and there's no real rhyme or reason which figures come with bendy wires and which don't. We have some collector's edition figures that have them, like Mobius Batman, and then some that don't, like Dr. Midnight. And those are the more expensive figures. Then we have some digital figures like Red Tornado that don't have it. Those guys cost a little bit more. Then we have regular figures like the recent DC Classics Batgirl that have the bendy wire and Black Mask. So there's just no rhyme or reason. It's like 50-50. Either you have them or you don't. And this is what sort of prevents this from being an almost perfect version of this Superman. Even though it's not my favorite version of Superman with the mullet, it's a, strong air of the 90s of the comics. And if you had the bendy wire, it would almost be a perfect incarnation of that Superman. It's still not a bad cape, but it's a huge missed opportunity. And when they first started doing this, I thought that was like a factory error, but I don't know. I'd be curious how much it really costs to add a wire in these capes. It can't be more than like 10 cents. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Now let's take a look at the reuse differences and similarities between this 0 Hour Superman and the Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman. And they utilize the same base body, which is my favorite Superman base body. It's the best one McFarlane has done, and I'm glad they've made it the gold standard. So let's take a closer look. Now, starting with their heads, obviously they're totally different. The torso and stomach look to be exactly the same. The arms, all the way down to the fists, look to be the same. The diaper piece is the same. And the legs, and even the boots are the same. Literally everything's the same on these guys except for the head, the cape, and the paint job, and they come out totally different. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize this base body. I count a total of 16 figures. It's really just 3 characters, Shazam, Superman, and Icon. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and its accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.4 inches tall, which can translate to just under 19 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, it can rotate side to side. He can look up, really not at all because of the hair, down, pretty good. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increase the range of motion and covering up the gap that would be there. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate and is hinged. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion. You get more out of the torso than the waist on him. Legs, complete as splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is decent on him. Legs go forward, about that far. Back not much. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock. And to articulation. Here's a look at Superman, flying above the skies of Metropolis. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other 0 Hour figures. Here's the Page Puncher 0 Hour Superman, next to the Collector's Edition Hawkman figure. Hawkman is the only other figure that I have specifically labeled 0 Hour by McFarlane. Both the regular and Platinum versions are both labeled 0 Hour, and to tell you the truth, they both made appearances in 0 Hour. Both the modern, classic version, and a ton of other versions of Hawkman. Now the other figure, the Red Platinum in Superman's Way of Extant, he's also from 0 Hour. Looking forward to finding him soon. Now let's check him out, next to some other Superman figures. Here he is, next to the other mullet Superman figures. They have made 3 of them, Justice League Task Force, 0 Hour, and Death and Return. Although they both have Platinum Chase variants, so I guess we have 5 mullet Superman figures. Here he is, next to the Action Comics 1000 and Hush Superman figures. Then, next to the Page Puncher and digital Silver Age Superman figures. And now, with the Injustice 2 and Page Puncher Armored Superman. Next, with a few live-action Superman figures, Christopher Reeve, Henry Cavill, and David Cornsweat. Here's a look at all of the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures they've released. Well, at least until about 6 months ago. And here are all the more recent Superman figures that didn't fit on the last slide. Here's the Superman next to the rest of this wave. This is the most recent wave of page punchers. We have 0 Hour Superman and Crisis on Infinite Earth's Joker. I'm still on the hunt for Cheetah and Extant. Hopefully I'll find them soon. And here he is, next to the previous wave of page punchers. We have the Golden Age Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, and both the regular and platinum versions of Superboy. Then, with the wave before that, we have Supergirl from Woman of Tomorrow, and then the Kingdom Come Superman, Damage, and Starman. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to a couple of recent Mega figures. Glow-in-the-Dark Bane, and Failsafe. Here's the Superman, next to the Batman Returns wave. Batman, Catwoman, Max Shrek, a couple of versions of Penguin, and his Penguin Commandos. And here he is, next to the most recent Batman wave. We have the Hush Riddler, DC Classics, Scarecrow and Batgirl, Black Mask's Batman, Batman Incorporated Batman, and Earth 2 Batman. Then, with the pink and rainbow Batman figures. And now, with the cover recreation, Emerald Twilight Green Lantern, and the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, Black White Accent, Flashpoint Batman. Here's the Superman, next to the JSA, Spectre vs. Atom Smasher 2-pack. And here he is, next to the 5th digital wave, Red Tornado, Batgirl, and Blackfire. Then, with the most recent wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, we have Batman with the Mobius chair, and both the regular and platinum versions of Dr. Midnight. I'm still in the hunt for the platinum version of Batman with the Mobius chair, and while we're on the subject of things I'm looking for, I'm desperately looking for both the regular and platinum version of the Collector's Edition Beast Boy, as well as the Superpowers Wave 4 Walmart exclusive Black Manta. If anybody out there has some information for me, can point me in the right direction, or can possibly help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. And now, with the Ben Affleck Batman for the Flash movie that came with the Bat Cycle, and the Rebirth Batman 2.0. And finally, here he is, next to the Wonder Woman vs. Atomic Godzilla 2-pack. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they are typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and then work my way smaller, and I'm going to include as many Superman figures as I can during these comparisons. Since we already checked him out next to pretty much all the other McFarlane DC Multiverse Superman figures, here he is next to some more McFarlane toys. In front of you are 5 different action figures, all from McFarlane toys, all 7-inch scale, and now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and Diamond Select toys, here's the Superman next to a bottle of rubbing alcohol, and here he is with some DC Direct and NECA Superman figures, then with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures, and now with some Mezco and Mattel Superman figures, next with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends, and finally with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a nice Superman figure. As much as I'm not a fan of the mullet look of Superman, it was a pretty big part of the 90s. And the figure looks fantastic based off the source material. The hair, the face, the costume, the body, it all looks great. Even the cape looks great, but doesn't function for shit. If they put the bending wire in there, this would be a solid home run. But they didn't, and it suffers because of that. His accessories are pretty much non-existent, just an extra pair of hands, the comic, the collector's card, display stand, all are not traditional type of accessories. And then we have his articulation, which is fantastic. I love that base body. The only thing I find awkward about the body is the wrists. His are cast in blue color, and they should be cast in flesh color. But when they cast in flesh color, a lot of times they look awkward, so it's probably better this way. If I had to rate this guy, it's a hard choice. If you had the bendy wire, I'd probably give him a solid 8. But as is, I'll give him a 7. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the mullet version of Superman, but he looks spot on for the source material. I just wish that cape had a wire in it. The figure would be not perfect, but a lot closer. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe, I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.